Hello, everybody. Welcome to a no nonsense preview of the Ultras section. We're just after recording a little bonus episode. Don't worry, I know I'm doing this intro by myself, but Kyle is very much in the bonus episode. We recorded it, didn't do a preview, intro, outro, weren't going to put up a preview. But when I was listening through, there were some parts in it that I thought were pretty funny. So I said, look, we'll give you a little treat, give you a little glimpse into the cage in the Ultra section. So if you want to hear this full episode, you'll get a little taste of it here. If you want to hear the full episode, head over to our Patreon, link in the description. $4.50 a month, you get all the midweek bonus episodes where we talk Champions League, Ireland losing like this week, something every week, a little bonus episode. You get that. You get all the backlog of all the past bonus episodes. There's loads on there now. I'd say there's about 50 hours off the top of my head, including some of the Euros. And there's also, a while back, we did a little bonus pod where we talked everything but the football called After the Nonsense. So that's all up there as well. So yeah, if you want to hear more, once you get done with this little preview and you would say, oh, what about the other 40 minutes or so? Head to the link in the description. You can get it there. But for now, enjoy.
Ireland game. We lost again 2-0.
End of episode.
And on a lighter note, Ireland lost 2-0 to Greece. Yeah, Hallgrimmson said this was a bigger game than England. You're telling me, pal. You know, I have a lot of friends in Greece.
Yeah,
my brief time there. I'm sure they're laughing their asses off right now at how bad we were. Although we weren't as bad as against England, but I guess they're probably a worse team.
Yeah, first half was actually fine in the grand scheme of things. We nearly scored a goal, Kyle.
Yeah, what a goal we nearly scored.
Yeah. Oh, again, this is the thing. It feels like now every goal that's offside, even when it's rightfully offside, it's just like, they took it away from us. They can't have anything.
You don't go, you should be onside for that. I think, of course they'd call that offside. He was a good yard or two offside, looking down the line where the ball was coming from. I don't know how he was that far off.
Yeah.
Maybe he knew, and that's what, I'm just going to lash this in my left.
Yeah. They went, whoa!
A bit of freedom there to do that. Maybe he knew the whole time. But Malumbi was spraying balls like Stevie G. He hit like 4 or 5 of them in that first half.
Then it all came crashing down. So again, whatever Hallgrimmson told them at halftime did not work.
Whatever Hallgrimmson told John O'Shea to tell the team, it did not work.
Yeah, pass it on. Maybe it was a Chinese whisper situation. Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, we started really well and we were creating chances and Greece didn't look that interested in it. And then second half, just your man, I don't know who it was, got the ball, turned around. It was like, oh, loads of space here. Maybe we'll just lash it in and just, same old. Long range goal. We didn't close it down. Players at international level can do that. I mean, honestly, I think someone like Malumbi could probably do that if he was given that much space on the edge of the box. You know,
doesn't happen
because they're good players. They're all good players to get this level. So we let that happen again, and I feel like there was like a collective groan from the crowd, like the England game, where it's like, like here we are now again, and you know, 'cause if that first half, like it was, like I say, it was grand, it was decent, but if that's the kind of blood and thunder reaction to the England game,
yeah.
If that's all we could muster, it's like, oh my God, you know?
Yeah. And again, it's like, I tell you, it's you know what it reminded me of? And I've actually seen other Irish football podcasts mention this today, which I was annoyed about. Very Man United-esque. As soon as something goes wrong, it's like the team and the fans go, oh, well, this is over. Game over. They've scored now. What can we possibly do?
Yeah. Well, and don't worry. I would never accuse you of stealing Smith's opinion, especially when the opinion is, this reminds me of Man United.
Like, that's my thing.
That's a Will original. Yeah, I think it's like Man United will. It's been a while of this.
Yeah.
For pretty like something like Collins or like Benny. I'm trying to think of players who've only played like under Stephen Kenny and like I guess the Mick McCarthy second year, like it's been all losing.
Yeah, they don't know anything else. Yeah.
So it's very hard to like think, oh no, we're still in this game. We've been here before. Because, with Ireland, anyways, they haven't.
Yeah.
And you look around, you see other people who are like, yeah, I remember losing to Greece like this last year with this exact same, like Will Small boy, like look across, it's the same team, So yeah, when you go that one goal down, long range goal, it's like, yeah, this is happening again, and there's not really anything we can do about it.
No, and I mean the second goal, again, just
that was a good goal. I'll give them that.
It was good goal, but it's just the same sight we saw so many times in the England game of one of their players barreling towards our keeper with our entire backline chasing behind him.
Yeah, Doherty kind of, I don't know, he was on him and then he tried to play a high line or whatever.
Yeah.
And then was like, oh, he's gone. Best luck, Collins. And then he just like one-on-one with Collins from literally the halfway line to the goal. Doherty never got back near him at all.
It was a tough as well because I think Collins is a fine player, but it was just a tough watch seeing him just getting juked and jived and turned inside out over and over again.
But as I said, like he was left his own for the entire half of the pitch. No one else could have gotten across to there. Like everyone knew what he was trying to do there. He should take them on. Like someone get across, help him out. He was very fast and he controlled it well. But I mean, that was the icing on the cake. A bit of it wasn't really booze, I guess. It was just kind of more deflation. You could see people getting up and leaving and stuff. Everton. This is more like Everton. This bit.
Everton. That's a good shout,
But there was booze at the end, wasn't there?
Yes, there was. As soon as the final whistle went. There was also booze, second game in a row. I don't know if we're the only team that do this, where we announce really happily and proudly who our man of the match is over the speakers in the Aviva. It's always an Irish player, but they always do it when we're losing. So it's just like it sets up the only players performed well to a chorus of boos to finish out the game.
Yeah, it's like not the man of the match, but it's the best Irish player on the night award kind of thing. Which is like, I get the idea. It's a bit of positivity here, folks.
Yeah.
Even though we lost,
not so bad.
This guy played all right. There has been many times over the years where people are like, I don't care. No one's played well. If it's the goal, it's like, okay, he saved a lot of shots. That's his job, and he's getting a lot of shots kicked at him. Who was this time? Was it Ogbene? Was this?
I think it was Ogbene. Yeah, I could be wrong now, but again, it was the exact same the England game where it's like Ogbene. Everyone goes, "Oh, fuck off!"
Yeah. No one wants to hear it after another 2-0 loss. It's like I don't want to hear who the best player in the night was because you lost 2-0. So it's like it's a team game. It's not individuals. Yeah. No. Let's get some serious analysis on this. Let's get some real journalism here. You have a friend of the show, Eamon Dunphy, has had his say on the matter.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, I think we discovered this during a podcast a few months ago. Eamon Dunphy has a weekly Mirror article where he just kind of writes hit pieces about various people in the Ireland FAI camp. I think last time it was Brian Kerr that was in his sites.
Yeah.
This week he's talking about the Greece game and Heimir Hallgrimmson. And he starts off, he mentions... this isn't a direct quote now, but do you remember the Liz Truss thing where there was the lettuce?
Oh, yeah, lettuce, sorry.
What was going to last longer? Dunphy brings that up to start his article, and then he says, who's going to last longer, the lettuce or the dentist? My money's on the lettuce, because this appointment is beginning to look strange. Not just strange, but wrong. Yes, he helped Iceland beat England 8 years ago, but he was joint manager then. Since then, he was manager of Jamaica. His record was patchy. Am I meant to believe the FAI waited 7 months to get this guy? What did they see in him? I'm baffled, I'm frustrated, I'm hurt, and I'm sickened. I'll tell you why.
Good, Eamon, good. Tell us why.
At 79 years of age, I have never seen things as bad as they are now. This is an all-time low. We're in a worse state now than we were this time last year. In fact, it's a worse state now than ever. This dentist hasn't gotten his teeth stuck into the job.
Hey.
So he goes on for a bit, but he talks about so there's some controversy about Heimer passing the book to John O'Shea to do press conferences and apparently pick the team. And Hallgrimmson also is not attending any Premier League games this month, he said.
Ooh,
to, like,
Tony-esque.
Yeah, and it's like, well, why not? Like, what else do you do? Surely this is the only place to see these lads, week to week.
Yeah.
And Dunphy talks about that. He says, I remember back when Jack Charlton got the job. He went out and got his hands dirty after he was appointed boss in 1986. A former World Cup winner. He wasn't too proud to turn up to Oxford United's Manor Ground, a shithole of a stadium, to check out a couple of potential recruits. He said, this is how we ended up with John Aldridge and Ray Houghton, on the back of a manager doing some good homework. All we have from Heimer so far are excuses. It's not good enough. There you go. That is Dunphy's take on Heimer.
Yeah. No, I think we said before that you can't rely on the grinding rule forever. You know, at some point we have to start to have some kind of development of players and enough each generation that we can field a team that's competitive. But that's not Heimir Hallgrimsson's role, Triple H's role. His role is to do that if needs be. You know, if he needs to go over to the Championship, to League One, and say, "Where's your granny from?" to every player on the pitch,
grab them by the shoulder as they go on the pitch. Where are you from?
I mean, there's some legendary stories of Jack Charlton, like in smoking rooms, or like, you know, there's at the club bars where all the players used to drinking back in the 80s and early 90s, and he'd be like sitting there in a cloud of smoke being like, I want you to play for Ireland, son, you know. And they'd be like, oh, this guy has aura, you know. But I mean, that's what you have to do. You have to try and hunt these players down, recruit them, like Ozzy said, because like the players we have there last, that's who it is. Like, you know, if you think you can win with that, fair play to you. You know, but if not, then maybe, I mean, because we have a lot of Irish diaspora around, especially in England. You know, we're like, okay, there's Declan Rice and Grealish who are examples of that and didn't work out. But like, there's a few back in the Charlton era. They tried to get Steve Bruce, he wouldn't come. Ferguson would let him come. I mean, you know, there's players out there. You just have to try and recruit them as much as you can. Certainly, like, you know, I think there's who's your man, Liam Delap. He's Roy Delap's son, isn't he? He is quite good. He used to play for Man City. But, you know, he's young and impressionable. Exactly, get him now. Yeah. Tell him you're building something. You know, tell him that you're going to be the star and he might believe you. You know, get him in.
You don't even have to say you're going to be a star, you're building something. You can just get in his ear now. He's young and impressionable. Like I said, you can say, you'll never get a game before Harry Kane, mate. You'll be long dead before Watkins is out of this team. You know, you can get him in that way.
I feel that's kind of, especially for sports people, you know, that'll be like the Michael Jordan effect. Like, well, I'll show you.
Yeah.
Hunter Hallgrimmson, you know. Whereas if you shower them with like, you actually are the star of Ireland, you know, you will be a national treasure. Like, oh, that does sound good. Don't focus on the players, you know. Don't give him an option to prove you wrong.
yeah.
You gotta fill his ear with sweet nothings. But I don't know. I mean, we said at first, like, look, it's one game. What can you take from that? Lots of people have taken lots of things from it, Will.
Yes.
Maybe they're more than all that we are. Maybe they're following it a bit closer. I mean, they wouldn't be hard, but they probably are following it a bit closer than we are. They were not impressed. 4-0 on aggregate over the two games. One disallowed goal. The concept of a plan, if that. I think we've all come away from this thing. Has it ever been lower? Can you remember a time when you've ever had less?
Yeah. I mean, it never once in those two games did it feel like we're going to score here. Do you know what I mean?
No, not really.
Like, even the chances we had were like, we had a few long shots that went sailing over the bar, or we put some headers wide after lumping it into the box. There was no well-worked moves or counterattacks or anything at all. Like,
the best ones were probably the deflected ones. We thought that might loop in. You know, where the perception on the TV camera, like, no, it's
Well, there was one more thing we were going to touch on, because like I said, the Premier League is back, but for a lot of people, it's back, but not what it used to be. I'm sure a lot of people have seen this online.
Man. Everything was better before.
Everything was better. Also, we literally, again, mentioned this, I think on the last episode, maybe the episode before, where it's like, it wasn't that the Premier League was better, is that you were a child. And
you were a child, yeah.
Yeah, you associate watching the Premier League with being free and having no care.
Yeah, coming home from school at 4:00 every day.
Done.
Yeah.
And even you have homework, you're not going to do it. And guess what? It'll be fine.
Yeah, well, it won't be fine because look at you now, thinking about the good old days. So that's the payoff.
Yeah, what we're talking about here, for anyone who hasn't been on social media, a big thing happening at the moment is the Barclays men trend. Hashtag Barclays men, where it started off with people just sharing montages of. It started off with like the streets will never forget type players, doing skills and tricks, but it's devolved into just montages of every Premier League player from like 2000 to 2006 ish.
Yeah,
Some of them in the most bang average montage I've ever seen, tap-ins galore. Just some of them I've seen just like sideways passes, and they all have like indie music of the time playing over them.
Yeah, the best FIFA music from the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's a very strange one. Will, I said before, like, are we ever going to get out of the 90s? You know, we're getting stuck back in the 90s every week. There's, you know, an Oasis reunion or a Man United ad. Like, come back. Things are better. At least now we're moving slowly but surely into the early to mid 2000s with this. It is to paraphrase some of our own haters. Will, there are too many podcasts out there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's the thing. Like, this is just free content. This is a great idea for content, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
For the people who are genuinely nostalgic about, you know, the mid 2000s and, you know, Morten Gamps Pedersen, it's like there are people who are like, let's this could be a segment. This could be a bit, you know, we could do a whole list of this, you know, and also it shows off your hashtag ball knowledge.
Exactly.
You know, I know who JJ Okocha is. Oh, JJ Okocha. But what about James Beattie? It's like, all right, completely different. But like, you remember the name of a player. You know, it's just I've spent years of my life watching this. Have you? It's like, no. Well then, don't talk to me about it.
Yeah, and it's the vagueness I hate about it. It's just like, oh, it was better. And it's like, no, this, you know, the people, it's the joke, but it's like, no, this woke, like, you know, tiki-taka and all this.
Yeah.
You know how much fucking puke football there was in the 2000s as well? Like 0-0 draws, like 90 minutes of lads just kicking lumps out of each other, trying to get a header. Not everything was better. You know, you see the long-range goals, you go, my God, every game was amazing. It's like, no. Sometimes there was moments of magic and piles of shit.
Yeah. Did you ever see that? There's a great page on X, formerly Twitter. Crap 90s football.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a great page, you know. Where it's you can delve back into the past and take things from it in a good way. Like another great example, you know, Max Rushton, formerly Soccer AM host.
Yeah.
He's on The Guardian now and he's on TalkSport and lots of things. He's really successful. You know, his game Ian Culverhouse. It's literally just he will name players from the 90s against his host. He'd be like Matthew Di Matteo, and then he'd be like James Beattie, and then like he'd do like as many times. They just keep naming names, and eventually Max Rushton will say Ian Culverhouse, and then winner Max Rushton, Ian Culverhouse. And it's just like it's a joke. Like it's meant to be this game where it's like you're just naming players that you know, and then until eventually Max Rushton runs out of names that you can think of or wants to say, and just goes Ian Culverhouse. Yes, I win again. You know, that's the game. But that's not trying to be like these were great players. It's like it's a nonsensical kind of a bit as much as anything else. But this kind of Barclays man and just naming players and being like, is he a Barclays man? I've seen these pages do as well. Like, who is the quintessential Premier League?
Yeah.
You know, where it's like Watford are more Premier League than Leicester. It's like, what is this? Like, this is just like bollocks, like utter bollocks. Like, because you could statistically do it from like 1992 to now, who's been in it the most and pick those 20 teams, and that'd be it. Yeah. They are the teams who've been in it the most, done. But this is just like, I'm going to just say things that I remember from my own point of view, and this is much more Premier League. That's a very Premier League-y thing. No, this is much more Premier League than that Premier League thing. It's like, what? It's just as nonsense. Do you know what I mean?
Absolute bollocks.
Like, I saw an example of this before. Is like when Threads started first.
Yeah.
And the first people who rushed on Threads, all the businesses and all the influencers, you know, and everyone else like, I have 3 already and I'm trying to actually cut back. I feel like a lot was that like, it's a massive ad space, you know? So with all these pages and podcasts, like with some of this, like it might be like a natural thing that someone comes up with, a tweet maybe. Like say the Animal 11 was someone's idea and then, you know, it's been going for a while, but like everything this now is going to become like, this could be a 20-minute segment, you know, it could be even a returning segment for all we know.
And yeah, there was a lot of there was some pushback because some of the clubs now, like Brighton and Brentford, were getting involved. They were doing similar montages of. It's funny because they had to pick we're not picking our best players because that's the whole point. So it's like, I love the idea of these clubs sitting down and going, who's our most above average player, and do like a montage of them with music. And then people are like, no, you're not Barclays, you're here now, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's all the same. It's all the same. And I get like people being annoyed about the systems and how different it is.
Yeah.
But that makes, I get that. But also it's like, it's not that bad. Every week there's a fucking 4-3, it feels like.
And there's like, unbelievable goals. And it's obviously the gap is big at the top, and it, it's tough to break into. But I feel like that's been that way for a long time.
Yeah, but like, has the top 10, top 11 or whatever of the Premier League ever been this actually competitive? Where like, again, Liverpool could play fucking West Ham. And you go, West Ham are very good. This is a tough game, For years, it was like Man United, Arsenal, and maybe Chelsea. Like, it depended on when the years crossed, and everyone else was shite.
Yeah, I mean, I know during that Man City Liverpool rivalry, and they had like 100 points and 97 points, where they would just beat everybody except for each other. That was probably the biggest, like, all right, like, we're never getting close to this. But I think they were just two exceptional clubs at the time with exceptional teams and exceptional managers. That was like a peak that they'll struggle to get back to, I think, when the City team eventually kind of fades out. Like, you won't find players as good as Kevin De Bruyne in the team again, alongside likes of Aguero and players like that. Like, I mean, that was a really good team. And the same for Liverpool, Mo Salah, Mane, Firmino, Van Dijk, all in one bit. Like, it's rare enough, I think. So maybe they're still thinking of that, like, oh, well, we'll never get close to them again. Yeah, I think it's, I even forgot what that, all the actual Instagram pages of all these clubs, they need content. They need to be churning out stuff as well. They need to be active on social media. So they all have to, everyone has to have like a creative player announcements now as well.
Yeah, exactly.
That, like, you'll watch the first second of, I get it, and then you'll scroll past this,
Cost 10 grand to make.
And like the club, the fans of that club will get it. But like, really, if you're losing on the pitch, you can have all the social media push you want. It doesn't fucking matter,
Exactly, yeah. And I was thinking this as well. It's like, you've seen, the way some of these players, the Barclays men, are being talked about. Like, oh my God, you could never compete with these players. This is when it was great. But then you look at the way people talk about Haaland, who scores like fucking 2 goals a game. They're like, yeah, but is he actually good? It's like what do you want? Like,
that's the, if people are like, oh yeah, like, the streets never forget things, but done to death now. It's been kind of like, it's been milk dry. We get it at El Tarbes, Meet You, we get it, There's been lists and articles and podcasts done. But the worst thing about all these things that people do to death is how fucking serious they take themselves.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They're like, really think like, no, Meet You, the interesting about Meet You was like, you fuck up, will you? This is a one-hit wonder from 10 plus years ago. Like, who cares?
Oh, that's enough of that. That's all they're getting now. You want to hear the rest of that episode? The rest of the 30, 35-ish minutes, I think that's still left. Head over to patreon.com/NoNonsensePod. $4.50 a month will get you this episode, all the future bonus episodes, and the backlog of all the old bonus episodes. It's all there. Link in the description. That's all for us for today. We'll be back Tuesday, I think. Monday or Tuesday, to cover all this week's Premier League news, including our favourite, the hashtag NLD between Arsenal and Spurs and whatever else is going on this weekend. It'll all be there. So yeah, good luck.